Imagine a World Cup favorite. I mean, a team boasting arguably the most lethal attack on the planet, just publicly admitting that their defense is a complete liability.
Yeah, it's unheard of.
Right. Usually, international managers spend like half their press conferences trying to hide their weaknesses. They speak in these vague platitudes about, areas of improvement.
Oh, absolutely. The classic coach speak.
Exactly. But right now, Brazil is essentially putting their biggest vulnerability on a giant billboard. So welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are taking you right onto the pitch at Hudson Bank Field for a truly critical rehearsal match.
Yeah.
It's Brazil versus Egypt.
And we're really treating this match as the ultimate case study today. We are looking at a giant of world football that has opted to to completely ignore the conventional wisdom that defense wins championships.
Yeah, completely throwing it out the window.
And they're going up against a fiercely resilient Egyptian squad that is perfectly designed to expose that exact kind of arrogance.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because watching this Brazilian team right now, under manager Carlo Ancelotti, it isn't like watching a traditional football squad at all.
No, not even close.
It's more like, honestly, watching this Brazil team is like watching a high-wire circus act without a net.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Right, it's thrilling. And they basically plan to just outperform the danger. But you also know that one misstep, just one, and someone is taking a really hard fall.
What's fascinating here is how this specific matchup serves as the ultimate litmus test for that exact high-wire act. I mean, we are in the final countdown to the 2026 World Cup finals in the U.S.
The pressure is entirely on.
Exactly. The curtain is about to go up.
Yeah.
And under the intense pressure of this specific rehearsal, we aren't just seeing tactics, both teams are showing their true colors. We're seeing the underlying psychology of how they manage risk.
So let's get into the mechanics of that risk. Because Ancelotti is essentially, he said the quiet part out loud.
He really did.
He admitted he just can't rely on his backline. I mean, they haven't had a clean sheet in 6 months.
6 months is an eternity in international football.
It really is. So instead of, fixing the defense, his game plan is simply to outscore the problem. Just put the ball in the back of the net more times than the opposition, regardless of how much you're leaking at the back.
And, you can't totally argue with the raw output right now. They scored 9 goals in their last 2 games alone.
Which is absurd. But to execute a philosophy like that, to just outscore them, you can't just have good forwards.
Right. You need an absolute engine room in the midfield. You need players who can completely dictate the spatial reality of the game.
And Ancelotti definitely has that engine room. You've got Lucas Paqueta, you've got Bruno Guimaraes, and anchoring it all, you have Casemiro.
Yes, Casemiro is the linchpin there.
Let's pause on him for a second.
Yeah.
Because at 34 years old, coming off an unbelievable, highly demanding season with Manchester United, a lot of critics thought his legs would be completely gone by this tournament.
Oh, for sure. People were writing him off.
But he's out there completely controlling the tempo.
And that's because Casemiro has evolved, right? He's gone from relying on pure physical destruction to relying on supreme anticipation.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, he isn't sprinting 30 yards to make a sliding tackle anymore. His legs might not have that. Instead, he's reading the shoulders of the opposing midfielders, he's anticipating the passing lanes, and he's stepping into the space 2 seconds before the ball even gets there.
Wow, so he's just outsmarting them.
Exactly. He's managing the game with his mind. And that allows players like Guimaraes to operate as the actual physical piston, pressing much higher up the pitch.
But wait, that raises a massive issue for the rest of the squad, doesn't it? If the midfield is pushing that high to press and the center backs are a known liability, the fullbacks have to cover, twice the ground.
It's a huge burden on them. They are essentially caught in no man's land.
Right. And we saw the physical toll of that immediately in this match. Wesley goes down with what looks like a brutal dead leg.
Yeah, and a dead leg in this context, it isn't just a minor bruise that you walk off.
It looked incredibly painful on the broadcast.
Oh, it is. When a player takes a knee directly into the quadriceps like that, it causes a severe muscle contusion. The muscle fibers literally freeze up. They contract defensively, which makes it biomechanically impossible to sprint.
And when your entire system relies on sprinting.
Exactly. Losing that explosive speed forces an immediate substitution. So they have to bring on Danilo.
Which completely shifts the dynamic. Because, being a Brazilian fullback isn't like playing that position for any other nation in the world.
Not at all. There is so much history there.
Right. You aren't just an outside defender. You carry the historical weight of being these complete dashing footballers. We're talking about the legacy of Cafu, Roberto Carlos, Dani Alves.
Yeah, the Brazilian identity demands that fullbacks be playmakers. They have to provide offensive width so the wingers can cut inside, but they also have to track all the way back. It requires an aerobic capacity that very few players actually possess.
Which brings me to my big pushback here. I really struggle to see how this outscore them model actually survives the knockout stages of a World Cup.
It's a fair concern.
I mean, is it actually sustainable to win a World Cup by treating defense as an afterthought? It sounds like a chaotic rec league strategy, not the blueprint of a championship team. When you face France or Argentina, you aren't getting 15 chances a game.
No, you definitely aren't.
So if your defense guarantees you'll concede, isn't Ancelotti essentially relying on a coin toss?
Well, it looks like a coin toss on paper, but Ancelotti is actually employing a concept we can call defensive geography.
Offensive geography.
Yeah, he isn't trying to defend with his center backs, he's trying to defend with distance.
Wait, defend with distance. Walk me through how that actually works.
So if you know your center backs, guys like Marquinhos and Ibanez are vulnerable to direct running attacks. The worst thing you can do is let the opponent set up camp in your half.
Okay, that makes sense.
So Ancelotti pushes his attacking players, especially Vini Jr. on the left, incredibly high up the pitch. They run this suffocating high press. The goal isn't just to score. The goal is to keep the ball 60 or 70 yards away from their own vulnerable backline.
I see.
They force the opponent to worry so much about their own survival that they literally can't afford to commit numbers forward.
Wow, okay. Defensive geography. I mean, that actually makes a lot of sense in theory. But the glaring flaw there is that it assumes your own team won't just hand the opponent a gift right through the midfield.
Which is exactly what happened.
Right, because the opening of this match was completely defined by both teams bypassing all that geography and just making catastrophic errors.
The opening 7 minutes were a masterclass in the psychological strain of international football.
It was so chaotic.
It was, because that high press we talked about, it isn't just a physical tactic. It is a psychological weapon specifically designed to induce panic.
And it worked beautifully against Egypt at first. Just 7 minutes in, Brazil goes up 1-0. But it wasn't some sweeping, beautiful Brazilian goal, was it?
Not at all. Egypt's midfielder, Lachine, receives the ball deep in his own half, and he delays.
He hesitates.
Exactly. He takes a fraction of a second too long looking over his shoulder.
And under a high press, a fraction of a second is basically an eternity.
It really is. When bodies are swarming toward you, your peripheral vision naturally narrows. So Lachine's delay forces the Egyptian keeper Shabir to try this really complex rushed pass into the midfield to relieve the pressure.
And he totally mishits it.
Right. Guimaraes reads the panic, intercepts the poor pass, and Brazil capitalizes immediately.
But then, here's where it gets really interesting. Because Brazil completely returns the favor a few minutes later.
They absolutely do.
And it completely shatters that whole defensive geography concept we were just talking about. Marquinhos, a veteran who led PSG to Champions League finals, a guy who has seen everything he massively underhits, this simple back pass.
It was shocking.
It's like a straight-A student forgetting their own name on a final exam. He just gifted an easy equalizer to Egypt's Zico.
And it's the exact kind of error that Ancelotti's entire system is desperately trying to mask.
I just can't wrap my head around it, to be honest. A player of Marquinhos' caliber leaving the ball sitting in no man's land like that. Does a mistake like that come from pure physical exhaustion, or is it a mental lapse?
Oh, it is almost entirely cognitive.
Really?
Yeah. We talk about the high press-inducing panic for the other team, but playing inside a high-risk system induces a very different kind of cognitive overload for the defenders.
Because they know they have no safety net.
Exactly. When a center back knows he has no cover, every single touch carries the weight of a potential disaster. He isn't just passing the ball, he is hyper-analyzing the risk of the pass in real time.
Oh, wow. So he's overthinking it.
Right. That overthinking interrupts the automatic, ingrained motor skills of a simple 10-yard pass, and that results in that catastrophic underhit.
And Zico pounces on it instantly. I mean, he showed incredible composure, slotting it perfectly. Zico's just scored his second goal in his second appearance for Egypt, having just scored against Russia.
He didn't look intimidated by the famous yellow jersey at all.
Not even a little bit.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that composure speaks directly to the tactical identity that Egypt's manager Hassan has instilled in this squad.
Hassan is such a fascinating figure.
He really is.
He's the definition of a journeyman manager. I think he's had something like 17 different managerial jobs. He almost took Jordan to the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah, he knows how to build resilience. And getting a result here, even a draw, is a massive psychological win for a nation trying to finally push past the group stages. You think back to their 1990 history, drawing Netherlands and Ireland. They have that underdog grit.
And they really showed it. Because once Egypt equalized, they didn't try to go toe-to-toe with Brazil's attack. They just sat deep, absorbed the pressure, and deployed this really strict low-block defense.
Which is exactly how you frustrate a team like Brazil.
Let's break that down for a second. For those who might just tune in for the big tournaments, what are the actual mechanics of a low block? Why is it so effective here?
So a low block essentially means compressing all 10 of your outfield players deep into your own defensive third of the pitch.
You're just giving up the midfield.
Entirely. You concede the midfield. The goal is to eliminate any space behind your defensive line, effectively creating two horizontal walls of bodies right in front of the penalty box.
Sounds suffocating.
It is. For a Brazilian team that relies on the explosive pace of Vini Jr. or the overlapping runs of their fullbacks, a low block removes the very oxygen they need to breathe. It removes the space.
Which forces Brazil to try and pick the lock rather than just, kick the door down.
Exactly.
And that perfectly transitions us into the second half of this rehearsal. Because with the game tied, the narrative completely shifted. It became the stark contrast between the struggling veterans and the rising stars.
Yeah, both teams were desperately searching for a game breaker.
Let's start with Brazil's Igor Thiago. The guy has been an absolute sensation in the Premier League this season with Brentford.
A phenomenal club season.
But putting on that national jersey, he just looked unsharp. Casemiro and Guimarães were threading these beautiful setups into the box for him. But instead of a crisp finish, Thiago kept taking too many touches. 2, 3, sometimes 4 touches to settle the ball.
And against a low block defense, the window of opportunity doesn't just close quickly, it slams shut in a fraction of a second.
Right, because there are bodies everywhere.
Exactly. By the time Thiago took his third touch, 3 Egyptian defenders had already converged on him. It really highlights the massive leap between club football and international football.
How so?
Well, at a club, you practice with the same players every single day. You develop an intuitive rhythm. In international football, you have a few days to find that chemistry. If your touch isn't completely instinctive, a low block will just swallow you whole.
That makes total sense. Meanwhile, Egypt decides it's time to test Brazil's vulnerable backline again, and they bring their absolute talisman off the bench, Mo Salah.
And we have to acknowledge the absolute circus surrounding Salah right now.
Oh, it's wild. He steps onto the pitch amidst this hurricane of transfer rumors. He's being linked to MLS, Saudi Arabia, La Liga, Italy. It's everywhere.
The sheer volume of external noise is staggering.
Think about the mental compartmentalization it requires. It's like trying to prepare for the biggest presentation of your life, but your phone is buzzing nonstop with high-stakes job offers.
Most people would grumble, but Salah uses the pitch as his sanctuary. The moment he crosses that white line, the noise just evaporates. He immediately started testing Brazil's backup keeper, Everton.
He looks so dangerous. You could see him constantly doing that thing where he pops his shoulder on the right flank.
Yeah, popping the shoulder is a classic winger's mechanism.
Explain the physics of that for us.
By violently dropping one shoulder just before the ball arrives, he forces the defender to shift their body weight in anticipation of a drive down the touchline.
Ah, so it's a fake out.
Right. And the second the defender's weight transfers to their back foot, Salah cuts the opposite way inside toward the penalty box. It's a game of millimeter-precise physics.
And it immediately had Brazil's defense scrambling. But despite the seasoned veteran Salah creating chaos and the Premier League sensation Thiago struggling, the player who actually broke the deadlock was a teenager.
19-year-old Endrick.
In 19, he gets the match winner.
And it was arguably the most tactically mature moment of the entire match.
It really was. Rafinha initiates this brilliant give-and-go sequence out wide. The ball comes across, and Endrick finishes it. Now, I have to push back on the aesthetics of this goal.
Okay, let's hear it.
He didn't even strike the ball cleanly. It was honestly a bit scrappy. So, does a goal count for more if it's a beautiful highlight reel strike? Or is simply being in the right place at the exact right time the true genius of a striker?